it's a ranking system. It's a very ranking societal thing that comes with the territory, and you gotta be built for it.
I'm glad I don't have to deal with that.
Yeah, you gotta be built for it.
I have made a military wife, friend, or associate, however she wants to consider herself. She does live in the area. We don't see each other very often. I mean, in this day and age, everybody's so busy, but I really like her. She's invited us to her house, and we've invited her to stuff that we've had, birthday parties or whatever. But he's also not active.
Oh, okay.
He's currently reserves, considered active, a whole nother thing. So because he has that status, but it doesn't make it the same experience as if I was an active duty military wife, which I know is a whole different experience.
Scary stuff.
Yeah.
But it's an amazing experience if you were to ever experience it. It's like something that does provide a life lesson, and it's not all bad.
I will say the one thing I hate, for lack of a better word, is the separation. Because all the different like pays and benefits and things that they get do benefit your family. But excuse me, that separation, like if you have older kids, maybe it's easier, or maybe because they are so cognizant of what's going on, maybe it's not easier. But I always tell my husband jokingly, I'm like, you're not allowed to deploy or go anywhere. He's like, you realize I don't have control over that.
None at all.
I'm like, I know, but no. Like, don't leave us, please. Not for a deployment, not for a training. Like, if he has to, we'll buckle down, do what we have to do. But it's hard. Like, I've never had to experience, thank God. There are women who say goodbye to their husbands pregnant and have to go through their pregnancy and sometimes their delivery.
That was me with my youngest. I went through pregnancy and delivery by myself. Yeah, because he was in boot camp.
In the early stages, when they first I'm meeting my baby for the first time. They're 2 months old.
Yep, that's exactly what happened.
That makes me so sad that families have to go through that.
He met her when she was about 2.5 months, and then he met her again when she was about 5 or 6 months.
How long did it take, from your opinion? Because of course his would be different. How long do you think it took for them to bond?
Oh, it was immediate. It was immediate. So I have a picture and everything. It was he only got to be with her for about a day because he got to do a quick leave. But at the time he was in A school in Florida, so he wasn't even supposed to be up there. But they let him, slide up real quick. But yeah, he got to meet her. That's twice.
Not good, but good.
Yeah, at least
not good that he was gone, but and obviously you can't tell now. They love their daddy, both of them.
Yeah.
The only difference in my experience, I would say, is because he started a new position, so to speak, at work. He could have made it to my appointments with my first, but we made the executive decision of just stay at work, build up your time so that when we have him, you can be home. And thank God we did that, because our first was a preemie. We definitely needed it. So there was that. And then of course with the wonderful pandemic that we just went through, he was again able to come to the appointments, I should say. But one, I was used to having to go by myself for the most part. And two, the less people that are present in the office, the better for everybody. So, I FaceTimed him through so many appointments and sent him all the pictures, showed him everything or whatever. He obviously didn't miss anything. And he was also experiencing our oldest while I was growing our second.
So how would that situation attribute to maybe some depression that you weren't aware was occurring by knowing you were doing a lot alone? And
at that phase, I feel like we got so off now that you bring that up. At that phase, I don't feel like I went through any depression.
Okay.
Definitely anxiety. When you're going through your first, really deeply having that desire to be a mom, and then finally going through it, and you build a picture in your mind, my husband's going to be at every appointment and it's going to be perfect. And I'm hopefully going to have a quick labor, quick delivery.
Yeah.
I will say with the actual appointments themselves, I don't think I experienced any anxiety about that being by myself because, like I said, I virtually included him. But I think about the halfway point is when they considered me high risk and told me I had, I believe it's called intrauterine restricted growth.
Okay.
Where they measure your belly and they scan to measure him, and he's doing good. He's doing good. He's doing good. Oops, he's small. Basically. So that obviously was very stressful. Any mom is going to be like, wait a minute. And with my second, anything that they told me with his pregnancy, I was like, okay, I'm going to take this with a grain of salt. I've been through this before, and it isn't always what they think it is. They're doing their best medically, but they're not psychic by any means, and they can only do but so much, as wonderful as technology is. So that definitely gave me some anxiety. And then hitting the 7-month mark, went into I was going to say ER, but labor and delivery, triage. I went in for what I thought was Braxton Hicks, and found out that they were technically Braxton Hicks, but they told me that I was dehydrated. So I get hydrated, I leave. And
was that New Year's?
Was it New Year's?
Was it New Year's?
Why do you ask me that?
Because I was there.
So then, yes. I think. Oh, no. With my first.
Oh, okay.
It happened with both. That's why I was like, what is she talking about?
So wait a minute.
I may or may not have took over her New Year's with my second. So same thing with both of them. 7 months I went in. They told me I was dehydrated. They discharged me. And on the ride home, after bags of saline, I'm having Braxton Hicks. And I was like, first of all, I got IV and I was drinking water the entire time I was there. And I'm leaving feeling the effects of what they told me was because I'm dehydrated. So that was annoying. And it got to the point, don't know if this is graphic for you all, but it got to the point where my stomach would contort to the shape of his body for the most part. Like it didn't look alien, like, where you can see every single part of him. But you could literally see, like, I can see where his head is, I can see where his butt is, and like the curve of his back, like simple shapes. Yeah. So that definitely was stressful and gave me some anxiety. Would be. Yeah. And then having perinatologist appointments from 7 months to 8 months. And then my last appointment, they said that they weren't seeing everything that they needed to see. He's acting really sleepy. Let's have you go get monitored. And of course, I had a 4 p.m. appointment. They closed at 5. So I stayed all the way until closing because they were like, we want to keep watching you. And the doctor comes in. She's staring quietly at the paper while I sit there mentally biting my nails. She's like, are you feeling all of these contractions? I was like, yes, ma'am, every single one. And she's like, I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't want to scare you, but I think you need to go to labor and delivery to be further monitored because we're about to close and I really don't want you to go home. I was like, I'm glad you said that because I was going anyway. Because his heart rate was, babies' heart rates are way higher than ours. His heart rate was dropping below mine. Oh, no, that's not good. Right. So I found out after the fact that my cord, apparently, I should be quick about this because this is for a future episode, but my cord was longer than it was supposed to be, long story short. And every time I contracted, it was squeezing that oxygen and blood supply, and that was stressing him out. So miraculously, my body was like my water broke on its own a month early. They were giving me stuff to stop my contractions, didn't work. That was very stressful. I had my mom on FaceTime with me the whole time, reminding me to breathe because I was holding my breath through pain. But the actual delivery was amazing by way of delivering a human. we'll give more details on that later. The second, the same. 7 months went in for dehydration, trying my best to hydrate with all different kinds of things: water, herbal tea, Powerade, liquid IV, whatever I could get my hands on to keep hydrated. But he did hold on until the end. So
that's my
potato baby. Yeah. Little potato. So we finished with stress. You had mentioned your depression. Did you finish with that?
For the most part, yeah. It was just, again, goes back to, it was a chemical imbalance. There's a lot of things that was going on. You had the situational things with just life, especially being a young parent and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like, don't be afraid to seek help when you feel like you need it. Like, if you really feel this down and out.
Especially as a Black woman.
Yeah.
I have heard so many people tell me horror stories and read them online, but I thankfully I've not experienced that at all. I'm not a hypochondriac by any means, but if something's wrong, I'm like,
please,
are you gonna fix this?
Please fix it.
They've had moments where they were like, we're not gonna tell you to come in, but if you want to, I want to come in.
Simple as that.
Check me, make sure they're okay. Yeah. But yeah, as a Black woman, you definitely have to look out for you as a woman in general, as a person of color in general. You have to look out for your health. Yeah. And make sure that you're not one of those people that are being overlooked. Yeah,
because I went to therapy. I didn't know anything about therapy. I was like, I'm going to go to therapy. I'm going to try it out. And he was like, I think that you're beyond what I can help. And I was like, who do I go to now? Like, what do I do? And he's like, give me the psychiatrist. It's like, I never even heard of that. Yeah. Like, I'm thinking psychologist, but I'm like, there's a difference. Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, psychiatrist. And I went to psychiatrist. He's like, yeah, here's what you got going on, girl. How long have you been feeling this way? And I'm like, my life for the most part, like the whole entire thing. But like most recently is really bad. Like, yeah, here's what you got going on. So yeah, if you're feeling anything out of whack, you just don't feel like yourself, talk to a professional, let them decide what your next step is, or if you feel like you can do more, just go directly to a psychologist or a psychiatrist and let them do the diagnosis. And of course, always research your medicine before you are prescribed, because side effects are gnarly. It's the best way to put it.
Yeah. So to start off mine and then tie into that, I did experience depression prior to motherhood and after becoming a mom. They were very different. I definitely went through situational prior to motherhood. We moved over 300 miles away, me and my mother. We knew no one. And of course with, excuse me, the difference in the cost of, what is the word or the phrase? Cost of living. The difference in cost of living from where we moved from and to, she was able to not have a job for a little while, while, looking for a job. Yeah. She had been looking for a job prior, but anyway. So initially when we first moved there, because she was still looking, neither one of us were working. I had just graduated high school, wasn't in college yet, didn't know anybody. So I didn't have friends around. We didn't have family. We were used to like cookouts at grandma's house after church on Sundays, every Sunday. Yeah. And that was gone. So that sent me into what felt like a black pit, if I were to visually describe it. I got to a point where I didn't want to do anything. Like, what you like and what you enjoy. And sometimes we would go to the mall and actually shop, but a lot of times we would just go and like window shop and look at stuff, just spending time with each other, get lunch, enjoy the fresh air. And I kind of caught myself with her asking me like, hey, you want to go to the mall? And I'm like, not really. And after so many times of saying that and seeing her reaction, you feel you feel like an embarrassment, like she's gonna know something is wrong. Yeah. And I don't know what's wrong. Yeah. So I'd be like, I guess, let's go. And you get dressed and you go out, and it might feel good while you're out. Yeah. If you hear something funny, you laugh. Yeah.
You're not
but
a complete zombie.
You're not fully feeling all your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny you mentioned zombie because it feels like that at home for me anyway, or felt like that. So that was one thing, is losing the desire to go places and do things. And I felt like, I guess I'm not a highly religious person, but I am a very spiritual person. So I feel like going to church, I kept somewhat of a desire for, and definitely, like I said, I worked in the nursery with the babies, and I loved seeing them. You can still, like, by no means do you feel nothing, but it's hard to feel compared to, you know, normal everyday life, for lack of better phrasing. So I noticed that I lost interest in things. I was not taking care of myself. Like, my hair would stay in the same bun that I put it in for until it was like, this is not okay. It wasn't okay, but it's really not okay now. Like, fix yourself.
You were opposite, because I was always cutting my hair. I was always dyeing or cutting. I was so depressed.
I would my hair.
I know, but I was so depressed. I was changing my hair just to make me feel something, because everything felt gray.
That was another thing. Doing things to make yourself feel something. And it what is the word? It presents itself in different ways for different people.
Yeah.
100%. Some people might chop their hair off, and I don't even know what I did. Some people turn to like drugs or addictions of some sort, and anything. That's unfortunate. But another thing that I experienced was, a friend of mine went through depression after I had gotten through mine. And I could tell the way she was talking to me what she was feeling, but I could also tell that she was like reserved, possibly embarrassed, and didn't want to talk about it. And I was like, I need you to understand that I've gone through this before. I've gone through, like, and here comes some transparency. Not all, I mean, you know it, but not all of it, but to the point where I was not eating. And obviously I'm super thick and can afford it, right? But I got to the point where my stomach wasn't telling me when it was supposed to that I was hungry. And because I had no desire to do anything and felt like I was in this pit, I would wake up, lay in my bed for God knows how many hours, and get up just because my body hurt from laying in the bed, not because I wanted to. Move to the couch, maybe watch something on TV. I would literally hear, I don't even know if my mom knows this, I would hear my mom coming home. Like, you recognize the sound of like your family pulling up and parking. And I'd be like, oh crap, she's not even purposely, just subconsciously, I guess. I would be like, oh crap, she's home. And I would cower off to my room because I didn't want her to see whatever I look like at that moment.
Right. That's tough.
And then I would eat when my body, I guess, went into some kind of survival mode. And then my stomach started cramping and gurgling. Like, you didn't eat breakfast or lunch and it's dinner time. And I'd be like, oh crap, I literally didn't eat anything all day, knowing that I can't afford that.
Yeah.
So I did have to explain to a friend of mine, like, because it was less popular to talk about mental health back then.
Yeah.
I understand what you're going through. If you need somebody to talk to, please come to me, because it's extremely isolating and lonely what you feel when you go through that. And if you don't know what you're going through, it makes it worse.
Yep.
So